Welcome to the JAMODI Podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI Podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
After a few years of that, I went down the rabbit hole of fast. And then when you go down that rabbit hole, of course, early on you hit Loyola Marymount, and then you start to go a little deeper and go farther until you start to get into Grinnell and some of those areas where it's just a free for all.
That system is awesome.
What's next? What's next in speed? It's Grinnell. So we're averaging 94 points a game. We're about 7-2, 7-3 before football guys came out. Kind of changed the dynamic a little bit of that team, but we were, doing a lot, but not necessarily turning guys over a ton, especially live ball. And I had a coach come but I was all in it, man. Like I thought this is fast. No one plays this fast. Like we are cutting edge or whatever. And a buddy, I said, "Hey, what'd you think?" And he says, "I don't think your guys can do that." And it hurt so bad. I said, "What do you mean? Like we just put up 92." Yeah, he's like, "The other team scored 105." I was like, "Yeah, but it's not about that." And he's like, "Well, I just don't think you have the horses to do what you're doing." And it was really an important thing for me to hear. And so then over the years, it's tried to be, okay, how, like Joe Crispin, his book Offense Wins is one of my favorite books of all time. And he talked about his personal constraints. And his personal constraint is he will not coach slow basketball. I have the same personal constraint. I just can't do it. And so, yes, there needs to be a level of fast that we can get to, but how can I adjust that level of fast, especially on the defensive end? So is there a pressure zone? Is there something that makes us appear more athletic than we are? Or is this a team that we need to press with, but still staying within my personal constraints? Because as much as I appreciate the guys that can play one extreme to another, I'm just not that guy. Yeah. And like Rick Torvald said, it takes you 10 or so years to figure out who you are. I just had to fail a little bit along the way.
Yeah. No, I think failure may be the best thing for not just obviously coaches, but players too. Like you need to see why this doesn't work or what you could have done differently and apply it to the next opportunity when it does come up. You may beat a team that you're supposed to beat and you feel good, but you didn't play well. So a lot of times I think the players don't realize that, like, well, coach, we won. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, any coach is going to take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day, but I think you're going to learn more from those opportunities that, we didn't play well and we lost by 9. And here are the reasons why. You go back with a film session or, you have a team meeting on certain things, and maybe your culture dropped for a game. Maybe it dropped at practice 2 days before leading into that game. Things like that come up, and it's really important that you do learn from those failed opportunities and just use it as an opportunity to grow. That growth mindset that we as coaches need to keep sharp, and we hope that it translates down to our players too.
I think it's easy for us to say to our players for them to have a growth mindset, but then probably a more important evaluation is, do we have a growth mindset? Or like are you doing the same things in practice that you did 5 years ago? Has your skill work evolved at all? Or are you still in the same mode? Now, not to say that you throw out everything that's good, but like you said, with blend, with add, I just keep finding better and better ideas and ways to teach the skills that I really like. And sometimes it's out of the box. And as long as I can see the game in it and be able to teach the game in it, then I'm down. But to go back to something you said about playing good and losing, playing bad and winning, I think we got to be careful with resulting too much with our players on either side of that. I think when they start to tell or they can see that you act a lot different after a loss than you do after a win, regardless of really how we played. Then I think the standards overall start to slip, where all of a sudden it's not about excellence and it's not about showing up the right way. It's just about winning. And it
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter what
yeah,
that looks like. And I
yeah.
think it does.
No, you're 100% right. And actually, I'm thinking about like the list of questions that you had sent and the topics that, we might discuss. That last question, I didn't choose it, and it's probably the one that I wrestled with the most is what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, yeah.
And not
Go
just
ahead
my
and
younger
answer it. Let's
self.
hear it.
I will. Not just your younger self, but you know, you and I we've been in it long enough to know what works, what doesn't, what we need to tweak, year in, year out. There's going to be change, things like that. For all the young coaches out there, whether you're an assistant coach, aspiring to be a head coach, whether you're a first, second year, head coach. And this is what I would tell myself, because I chased wins so much those first 2 years, especially. We were 5-26 my first year. So needless to say, whatever I was chasing wasn't very good. And so, uh, however, we made some changes. We had a full, spring and off season where myself and the staff that I had, we got to, put in the things we wanted to do. And what I would tell people is don't chase wins, chase your culture. What you want that culture to look like, what you want it to be, how you envision it. Chase that every day. And and don't ever assume you're going to have a finished product, because the kids are going to change year to year. Their backgrounds are going to change from year to year. Their home lives will change from year to year. You have your standards, but you have to make sure that those kids from all these different backgrounds, that you hold them to the same, accountability and standards as you would for anybody that's been in your locker room before. But you make sure that that culture is as strong as possible, and that it's never fully set in stone. Like, you have to be ready to adapt to a new situation year to year while still maintaining that high culture. So don't chase wins, chase your culture and what you want it to be like. Wins will come as a result of that. So from year 1 to 2, we go from 5-26 to 21-11, and we missed the final playoff spot on the last game of the year. While that's not the end result we wanted, there was progress, there was growth. The kids saw it. I think our parents and our school saw it. Obviously, as a coaching staff, we realized, like, hey, we did some things well. Did we coach a little bit better? Yeah, maybe. But that comes with experience, for all of us.
Yeah.
Was our team a little more experienced as well? We did. We returned a pretty good group of the guys from the year before that went 5-26. They were just a year older, a little more, developed, et cetera. But I feel like we started to implement the culture that we wanted, so we saw the results of that. And then from then on, we had success.
That was pretty impactful. And I'm glad that you did answer that question. It's one of my favorites to hear people go through. And I think you're right. I mean, early on, here's a humbling moment for me was my second year at Faith. We hit 432 threes, 423. And I thought, that's a lot. Like, that's at McKinney, we were at 280 and we thought that was a lot. And so with 423, I thought, okay, that's going to be some kind of record. Like, what's the record
that's
out
gotta
there?
be up there. Yeah.
So I looked at NFHS, and sure enough, in 2 years, because of just the volume of shooting, the volume of threes and the possessions, we were about 9 or 10, either team or individual records. We were at least in the top 10, and we could submit. So, Coach, I printed out all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And did all the stuff, sent it in, and I'm waiting. It's kind of like Michael Scott when he does his own ad instead of and I don't know if you're an Office fan, but so I'm sorry if you're not, but
No.
they want to do the ad, but he's like, oh, we'll do our own, and he sends it, and he's waiting by the computer, and 5 weeks later, right? Like, that's what it says, or a week later.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. A month later, I finally get an email from them, and it says, because you're a private school, your records are not acknowledged by NFHS. It was such a kick in the nards.
No.
And I just remember thinking, like, wow, I'm not that important. That was first thing. And then that stuff doesn't matter. But then, and also like I realized it was all about me. My players didn't care about that. In fact, the year that we hit 423, we only won 14 games. Like we actually had a losing season. We didn't make playoffs, but by golly, we hit a lot of
But
threes.
we were,
and I was the only one who cared about that.
Yeah.
And that was a good, like you kind of talked about failure. That was good for me to go through, because like, what would if this was my last year? Well, we have a lot of fun. So I'll try to have more fun. I don't know what that looks like, but we'll try to have more. I would let less things hurt my feelings. And I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way or not, but like I find myself anytime that a player doesn't it looks like they don't like what we're doing, because I think this is just the best thing we could be doing, or if they disagree, or if their attitude's not right, or if a parent says something, all of those things I let them, and I try not to show it, but I can let them get to me a little bit. And Ted Lasso's, I love the show. Every coach should watch
Great
it.
show. Yes.
I know it's not a real guy. Like I know that, but I've always was amazed at how he didn't let things bug him. Like players could straight up answer or act in a way that is opposite of the culture he's trying to create, and it was almost like, hey, that's okay. I respect the way that you. And I'm thinking, no. In fact, that moment when he's about to tear into Jamie Tart and his son comes in and stops him, I really wanted the son not to come in
let him
go light him up. Hey, you know what? And just go after him, but I want to be more like that. I know it's a fictional character, but that's something I would try to do.
That's what I remember from those moments, because there's more than one. There's probably a handful of moments throughout the series where he does let something get to him, and it's like a really big emotional part of the series every time those moments come up. Just like you said, he's about to just unleash on Tart, and the kid walks in and it stops. And I think of was it towards the end of the series where he's trying to crack he's by himself, he's trying to crack the formation, and he's going through the book and stuff, and it's like this
total football.
He's having his like a mental breakdown doing it, and then like it clicks, and he's like, it's just this, like how nonchalant he turns into, but he's like, I love those moments from that show. You're right. Every coach needs to watch that show though.
Needs to watch, but also too, I do think allowing ourselves the ability to not have an opinion on everything, and to be okay with messy and everybody not instantly being on board, and other people having bad days, just because you and I may show up and be pretty much the same guy every day. Like we'll do our very, very best. That doesn't mean that everybody else has to, or that they will. And being, it's kind of like, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's security. Being that secure in who we are as coaches and the direction we're going, that you can just roll with it. And then you kind of nailed it too. Not worrying about wins. I think when you start worrying about wins or even legacy, when that starts to be part of, and that's what I was doing with those forms, is I want to be remembered. I want to have a legacy that, it's right here in NFHS.
Who was the coach of that team? Yeah.
And, but when you start worrying about that, it's almost like it consumes you so much that you end up not having the one that you wanted.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI Podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.